This week's Economic Update is presented by Augusta Business Daily and TAB, the Alternative Board.
Well, happy 75th anniversary to the local SHRM chapter. I'm with Coach Dave and I'm Neil Gordon. So that's Society for Human Resource Managers. And they also got a national award. So they're one of the best chapters in the country, which is really cool.
Awesome. Well, you know, when I read that article, a couple of things stood out to me that were really good. The first thing I liked about there was that they talked about, I think it was one of the leaders, Robert Kelly or maybe Lynn, talked about developing an evergreen pipeline of candidates. I thought that was really awesome because, you know, I think so many times as employers, we wait the last minute or we don't think about hiring being a process, you know. And there's just a couple benefits to that. You know, if you have a candidate pool internally, imagine how great that is for you to go out and actually fill a position at that point. Right.
So you're not scrambling at the last minute.
Right.
I like that.
Right. And another thing in the article that I love, they talked about, you know, bringing in, talking about your value, vision, mission, and aligning people, you know, with who are passionate with what you offer. And I think that's so critical to long-term retention in the hiring process. Yeah,
and the other thing I gathered too, we happened to sponsor that particular meeting, was the idea that you've got to think like an employee, and the more flexible you can be with someone's schedule, the better the opportunity to recruit them. I thought that was interesting.
Right.
The military-themed restaurant just opened in the old Suite 10 in Evans. And what branch of the Armed Service were you in?
I was in the Navy, and you know, when I saw that article, I'm very excited to go check it out and visit, because I think it brings together, you know, a couple of things that it reminds me of a restaurant that I used to go to in San Diego that had lots of memorabilia on the walls and different things. And I think that, you know, it could become something really special for a lot of military
That's
people.
Neat. And the first item that they put in the restaurant was a camo net. Now, I've never been in the military, but they shared with me that this, in wartime, you wrap the net over a Humvee to hide people, to hide equipment. There's going to be a lot of stories while people are enjoying good American Southern comfort food, which is kind of good.
I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah. And the other thing we wanted to mention is this past week, you and Darren put together an interesting article related to sales. And, you know, I got to sell every day, you know, what we do, marketing and advertising and all. What do you think is the most important part of the sales process when you get to talk to somebody?
You know, there's a lot of different things that could be considered the most important part, depending on what type of sales that you're doing. But one of the things that I think is most important to talk about in the articles, especially if you're pivoting as a company, don't rush into the wrong type of sales or sell something that maybe isn't quite your fit. And sometimes companies do that just because they're looking at that short-term revenue. And keying in with that is the second part of that conversation is sometimes salespeople don't talk about the challenges that they may have, or they don't want to bring up anything, let's don't call it negative, but let's say some challenges or what the client needs to do to make sure this is a successful process.
Yeah.
And probably one of the key things also is, you know, that salespeople need to be reminded of is just the saying is you have one mouth and two ears. So you should be listening at least twice as much as you're talking. And
I love
think
that.
Many salespeople just want to talk. And
kind of the consultative approach. Listen, find out. That's what I've always done. I'm not a high pressure guy. I very often it's just a first get together meeting, find out what they need, and then you come back and hey, it's not rocket science. They tell you what you need, what they need, and you try to fill that.
Right. That's simple as that.
Yeah, and if you'd like to see this article, because everyone's a salesperson, you're going to influence someone, please go to the bottom of the comments here on the YouTube video. And you can click on it and read the article. And as always, Coach Dave, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Got the fist bump today?
Fist bump today. And remember, tabcsra.com. We'll see you next week.
All right. Have a good day.
This week's Economic Update is presented by Augusta Business Daily and TAB, the Alternative Board. To learn how TAB can help your business, visit tabcsra.com.